Penelope darts through the palace corridors, the cursed favor meter flashing red as the two brooding Eckhart brothers hurl accusations at her every turn. A reckless kiss with the crown prince seals a lethal rout, yet the magician's lingering stare fuels a pact. With the loyal slave knight's blade at her back, she dares to rewrite destiny before the real heir appears.
Penelope darts through the marble hallway, heart thudding as the two feuding brothers lunge for her hand, each accusation sharper than a blade. The crown prince flashes a cruel smile, his route a death trap she knows too well, while the flamboyant magician flicks a spell that only deepens her peril.
3 hours later, Penelope still hasn't slept, her mind racing with the Duke's family politics and the looming hidden ending. She recalls her past as a commoner, the hunger that drove her to this noble house, and vows to use that fire to outplay the system. Her goal: secure an ally before nightfall. The obstacle: the magician, enamored yet jealous, blocks her approach to the brothers, offering cryptic riddles instead of aid. She feigns interest, asks a bold question, and watches his wand pulse with reluctant power. The consequence: the magician hands her a protective charm, raising her favor with the brothers but also drawing the crown prince's ire. He has no idea what's waiting.
Penelope hijacks the game's normal mode, forcing the cursed contract to reboot and exposing the hidden hard mode icon that threatens to rewrite her fate. She feels the crushing weight of every failing ending, while clutching the fragile hope that accumulating affection points might buy her a single, survivable tomorrow. The two elder dukes close in, their blades humming with cursed ice, as the unseen narrator hints a secret ending lies beyond the unread page, leaving Penelope's salvation teetering on a knife's edge. Blood is thicker than water, but revenge is sweeter. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Penelope lunges at the crown prince's blade, sparks flaring as his sword whistles past her cheek. She spins, pulling the loyal slave knight into a desperate grapple, while the two feuding brothers roar, each demanding the throne's favor. A sly magician flicks a charm, turning the battlefield into a twisted dance. Every reckless kiss fuels their favor, every slip-up sharpens death's edge. She must seal a kiss before the next game overshatters her world. Penelope darts through the palace garden, snatching a wilted rose as the two feuding brothers lunge at her over a misplaced goblet. Penelope slams the ornate door, her heart hammering as the two Eckhart brothers glare, swords drawn over a spilled wine glass. The crown prince lunges, his blade flashing like a dying star, while the roguish magician conjures a glittering trap that snaps shut around her wrists. A loyal slave knight leaps forward, his shield a barrier between her and certain death, and Penelope's desperate grin widens. She'll turn every fatal ending into a twisted victory.
Penelope snaps the cursed chalice, the shards glittering like shattered fate. The two feuding brothers charge, swords clashing, while the crown prince's icy grin promises another death end.
Penelope shatters the cursed chalice, releasing shards that explode, forcing the feuding brothers and crown prince into a chaotic melee. Penelope feels destiny's bitter taste, her smile cracking as she realizes the palace demands she become the villain destined to die. Risking her heart and hope, a hidden blade glints from the shattered chalice, hinting a secret ally or betrayal, leaving Penelope perched on the edge of death as the magician prepares his next flamboyant spell. New recaps go live every week. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari before this one is buried in your feed. Penelope pleads, voice shaking, "Master, even if you dare disrespect, there's a limit." She clutches the tray, fearing the Duke's wrath. The Duke scoffs. A mere maid gives this garbage to their mistress for food. His eyes narrow, expecting obedience. Penelope stammers, "Master, it looks like I." He leans in, whispering that he will tell his father and brother, a threat that could seal her fate. Penelope steadies herself,
whispering, "But I know." The air crackles as the distant voice of the system drifts in. Villains are destined to die. She clenches her fists, realizing the script forces her toward death unless she rewrites it. Determination flares. She decides to cheat the system, to turn the cursed fate into a chance for love. The cost: defying the narrative could trigger the game's fatal reset, erasing everyone she's come to care for. Join the Hari squad with a sub before the system crashes. She steps forward, daring the story to betray her expectations.
The Duke rips the cursed tray from Penelope's trembling hands, hurling her into a locked cell as the system's cold voice declares, "Villains are destined to die," sealing her fate. Penelope feels her hope crumble, her pleas echoing in empty corridors while the Duke's scorn strips her of any chance at redemption, leaving her heart pounding with desperate terror. A pink-haired servant whispers about a mysterious second solution, but the guards tighten their grip, and the looming system warning hints at an unseen force poised to strike before dawn. You'll never have to search for chapter summaries again. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and let them come to you.
Penelope darts through the marble hallway, clutching the cursed love letter that spikes the brothers' favorability each time she flirts with danger. Duke Eckhart's icy stare follows as the crown prince lunges, sword gleaming, only to stumble into the magician's flamboyant spell that erupts in dazzling fireworks. The loyal slave knight draws his blade, shielding her trembling heart, while the timer ticks, death lurks at every ending. Penelope darts into the ballroom, clutching the cursed amulet as the two feuding brothers lunge, swords flashing. The crown prince's sneer turns murderous, but the roguish magician flashes a protective sigil, while the loyal slave knight throws himself between her and a lethal blow.
The interface lists the two adoptive brothers, the Duke's own sons, as the next targets. Their rivalry fuels the palace's tension, and each brother eyes Penelope as a pawn in their power game. She realizes that courting either will spark a duel, yet each kiss could also push the system toward a happy route. The system's final line flashes, "Villains are destined to die." Penelope clenches her fists, ready to rewrite that destiny with blood-splintered resolve. She knows every reckless kiss now fuels her favor meter, and every death she avoids costs her a piece of her soul. Join the Hari squad with a sub before the system crashes. The answer is already too late.
Penelope hurls the cursed crown onto the prince's head as twin dukes crash into the marble hallway, while the flamboyant magician summons a swirling vortex that tears the arena's walls apart. She feels the weight of a child's scream echoing, realizing the palace's indifference crushes her hope, while the system coldly marks her affection meter at 0, stripping any chance of love or rescue. The system flashes a looming choice: read dangerous character profiles or plunge forward, leaving Penelope teetering on the brink as the vortex expands, threatening to swallow the entire duel and her fate.
You ask for the best, I deliver. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. Penelope darts through the moonlit balcony, the cursed crown prince's blade glinting in her hand. Derek snarls, "You'll never steal my throne." As his younger brother lunges, swords clashing like thunder. The magician's arcane sigils flare, yet each reckless kiss only fuels their favorability meters. With the loyal slave knight shielding her, Penelope laughs. Death is inevitable, but she'll rewrite every ending. Penelope slams the ornate door of the Duke's study, the second son. Sharp-tongued, fists clenched lunges, hurling curses that echo like gunfire. She flips the table, scattering love letters and a cursed crown prince's blood-stained invitation. The magician's eyes flare, the slave knight steps forward, and the favorability meter spikes as she dares to kiss danger itself.
Penelope slams the palace door as the crown prince's blade whistles past, sparks flying from his cursed sword. The twin dukes, her feuding brothers, snarl, each demanding her hand while the flamboyant magician conjures fiery roses that scorch the marble floor. A loyal slave knight lunges, shielding her from a lethal trap, and, against all odds, her favorability meter spikes, lighting a desperate path toward a true happy ending.
Penelope refuses to become a pawn in a game designed for her death. She grabs the fallen knight's blade, stands tall amid jeering nobles, and declares she will rewrite her fate. The crown prince lunges, but she sidesteps, slashing the rope that binds the throne's banner, sending it crashing onto the prince's chest. Penelope hurls the cursed relic into the crown prince's throne, shattering it and igniting a volatile surge of power that tears the marble floor as the throne collapses into chaotic shards. She seizes the fallen knight's blade, defying nobles and refusing to be a pawn, risking her life to rewrite destiny while the crown prince's cursed sword whistles menacingly toward her heart. Twin dukes converge, swords flashing, demanding allegiance, as the altar looms behind her, pulsing with the relic's dark promise, leaving Penelope poised on the brink of a fatal choice. This story just took a massive turn to the dark side. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. He earned his university spot just to flee the blood-soaked legacy his father built. Penelope rushes to the Duke's chambers, slamming the door before anyone can answer. She glances at the butler, whose stare cuts sharper than any blade. The Duke's real daughter looms behind the curtains, her presence a ticking clock. Penelope forces the door open, hoping the Duke's gaze will spare her. The butler steps forward, voice cold, and hands her a sealed invitation to the ladies' room. She snatches it, heart pounding, knowing this might be her only chance to change a doomed route.
I did not study like mad to be accepted by my family.
Penelope asks the Duke if he plans to cast her out, her voice trembling with fear and defiance. The Duke's silence hangs heavy, his authority a wall she can't climb. She hopes his answer will reveal a loophole, but the only thing she hears is the echo of her own desperation. The cost is a growing rift between them, a crack that could snap under the slightest pressure.
So will you be kicking me out, then?
The floor beneath her shifts, and a new threat looms from the shadows. Penelope watches the Duke contemplate turning a hidden switch, the device that could seal her destiny. She wants him to act, but his indecision stalls her plan. Penelope forces the hidden switch to flash, sealing the Eckhart doors as the console blazes, trapping her inside the looping simulation. She feels the crushing weight of freedom slipping away, trading hope for a cruel certainty that every choice now costs a life. The Duke watches, his indecision hanging like a blade, while the system flashes a binary ultimatum that could erase her existence forever. The story's about to escalate in a way that changes the entire series. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and stay tuned.
The game's menu blinks, asking if Penelope wants to shut off the multiple choice prompts. She hesitates, then clicks yes. The system confirms the option is active, promising she can now move and speak without the scripted choices. A rush of freedom surges through her. The invisible hand that once forced her into predetermined routes lifts. She feels the world's code loosen, her voice no longer filtered by invisible dice. For the first time, she can act on her own whims, even if those whims lead to death.
Multiple choices disabled. Free play enabled.
The real test has just begun.
Penelope darts into the banquet hall, wine glass shattering as the two feuding brothers seize her wrist, sparks of rivalry crackling between them. The crown prince storms in, his icy glare promising a swift end, while the flamboyant magician flicks a dazzling spell that only deepens her peril. A loyal slave knight lunges, shielding her just as the favorability meter spikes, her only chance to rewrite this deadly script.
Penelope kneels before the stern lord, pleading for mercy as the blood-scented accusation of a vulgar rat hangs in the air. She wants forgiveness, but the father's brothers roar with contempt, blaming her for every scar on their honor. Penelope slams the banquet doors, the silver crown crashes to marble, twin brothers lunge, a jealous magician erupts sparks, and she throws herself before the merciless lord, begging the unforgiving system for mercy. She risks surrendering the last fragment of pride, bearing the vulgar rat accusation, yearning for forgiveness that could keep her alive, while contemptuous brothers roar, threatening her very existence. The favorability meter flashes 0. The magician's eyes flare with hidden power, and the Lord's silent decree hangs, leaving Penelope's plea hanging on a single unanswered mercy prompt. Watch him break every limit they set for him. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Penelope darts through the moonlit courtyard, the Duke's twin brothers snarling as they block her path, each insult sharpening the tension. The Crown Prince's blade glints, promising another fatal ending, while the magician watches with a hungry grin, his spellbook humming. Suddenly, the loyal slave knight lunges, shoving the prince aside, and Penelope's favor meter spikes, death snarls, but hope crackles louder. Penelope darts through the ballroom, her heart pounding as the two brooding brothers shove her into a duel of wits while the manic crown prince lunges for the throne. The magician's silk-soft charm coils around her, and the loyal slave knight blocks every fatal strike, each flirtatious breach sealing a higher favorability score.
A servant mutters, "We asked nicely, but you pissed us off." Penelope's frustration spikes. She wants to keep the servants from turning on her, but the tension in the hallway is electric. She snaps back, "How dare you lie, you vulgar thing." The words echo, striking the marble walls. The servant recoils, the courtyard erupts in shocked gasps, and a distant bell tolls, marking the day she crossed a line. The cost? A sudden surge of hostility from the entire staff, and a hidden favorability meter flickers upward. But the real problem is already in motion. Merchants line the market, displaying glittering jewels.
Penelope darts through the banquet, snatches the crown prince's jeweled heirloom, and ignites a chaotic duel as the twin dukes roar, their swords clashing under the moonlit chandeliers. Her heart pounds, knowing the stolen relic could expose the cursed secret that would doom her family, while the accusing maid's flame-filled eyes threaten to strip her of any hope. With the hallway doors slammed shut and servants turning hostile, Penelope faces a looming capture, the cursed heirloom still clutched, while whispers of her secret trips echo, leaving her fate hanging on a knife edge. 100% pure story, 0% filler. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. She picks a commoner as Maid, and the villain's reign ends in blood. The Duke's grand hall hums with tension as the butler steps forward, clutching a sealed parchment. He claims an urgent matter, eyes darting to the young lady's frown. She demands a new maid, her voice sharp, the weight of noble reputation pressing down. The butler stammers, his name tangled in the air, his mind racing to hide the fact that a nameless commoner slipped past the guarded doors. He bows low, hoping his silence buys her time. The stakes rise as whispers of scandal begin to stir.
State your name, servant.
The answer could shatter the fragile peace.
What kind of uproar would the father cause? The Duke left to visit the royal palace early morning. All they needed was to frame some wicked act.
Penelope clutches the cracked locket, desperate to prove she isn't the doomed villainess the game scripts. She needs the Duke's trust to avoid the next forced marriage, but the two brothers block every exit, shouting accusations and pulling her toward the throne room. She darts past their outstretched hands, slams the locket onto the marble altar, and a hidden sigil flares, sealing the door behind her. The sudden lock buys her a moment, yet the echo of the crown prince's laughter rolls through the hall, promising a deadlier trial. And that's not even the worst part. The butler kneels, begging, as the lady orders the cursed dinner, sealing Penelope's desperate clutch of the cracked locket while the Duke's brothers block every exit, igniting a deadly power play. Penelope feels hope shatter and terror swell as her chance for the Duke's trust evaporates, forcing her to confront a fate of forced marriage or execution, while the butler's plea hangs on the brink. The Duke's hidden agenda looms, the brothers' iron grip tightens, and the cursed locket's secret remains unrevealed, leaving Penelope staring into a trap that could rewrite her destiny forever. No talking, just straight dominance. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. The assassin slides the needle, the breakfast is poison, and the housekeeper watches.
Penelope, forced to play the villainess, must serve her master's morning meal while a hidden blade waits in the crook of her wrist. She wants to survive this cursed breakfast, but the poisoned fork blocks her every bite. She forces herself to swallow, feeling the toxin crawl down her throat. The housekeeper's cold stare tightens, and Penelope's heart spikes as the poison begins to coil. And that's not even the worst part. The clink of metal echoes through the dim hall as the silverware strikes the porcelain. Penelope's fingers tremble, craving a moment to breathe, but the clank reminds her that every second counts.
Penelope darts through the marble corridor, her heart hammering as the twin dukes slam doors shut behind her. The crown prince lunges, his blade flashing. She sidesteps, a grin curling on his lips. A flamboyant magician conjures glittering sigils, while the loyal slave knight steadies his spear, eyes locked on her trembling hand. Each flirtatious jab fuels the hidden favor meters, pushing her ever closer to a doomed happy ending. The silence deepens, and the next move could seal Penelope's doom.
Penelope pretends the servant's whisper is nothing, hoping the duke won't notice her trembling. She wants the household to stay calm, but the head housekeeper's cold stare blocks any excuse.
Penelope hurls the cursed crown onto the throne, metal sparking as twin dukes burst through the doors. She overturns the banquet table and sends the crown prince's dagger skittering across the marble. She feels the crushing weight of every accusing gaze, her trembling smile masking a desperate fight to keep her family alive, while the twins' snarling accusations threaten to rip her world apart. The ominous banner reading "Villains are destined to die" looms above the shattered hall, and the blade she just deflected hovers inches from her throat, leaving her fate hanging on a razor-thin edge.
You ask for the best, I deliver. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. The maid's betrayal seals the villain's fate, death already written. Penelope hears the cold accusation echoing through the hall, her heart pounding as the noble's eyes blaze. She wants to stay alive, to prove she isn't the doomed servant. The accusation itself blocks her, a decree that she must be expelled at once. She throws herself on the argument, shouting that the order is unjust, pleading for a chance to prove loyalty. The Lord's guard seize her wrist, dragging her toward the door, and the room fills with the metallic clang of chains. And that's not even the worst part.
Expel her now, she remains your maid.
Penelope darts through the marble courtyard, the cursed crown prince's blade flashing inches from her throat. She snatches the magician's wand, sparks ricocheting as the two feuding brothers lunge, claws out, shouting over who'll claim her heart first. A loyal slave knight throws himself between her and a lethal trap, his armor clanging. With every reckless kiss, the favor meters surge, her only chance to rewrite the death-locked ending.
Penelope slams the ancient grimoire open, daring the crown prince's cursed blade to sing. The twin dukes roar, fists clenched, but she sidesteps, flashing a mischievous smile that spikes their favor meters. A smoldering magician flicks a fireball, the loyal slave knight lunges, each clash pushes her closer to a living happy ending.
Penelope snatches the magician's wand, channeling a burst of crackling energy that shatters the twin dukes' coordinated assault, and forces the flamboyant crown prince's cursed blade to ricochet dangerously toward the marble pillars. She feels the crushing weight of every failing choice lift as her favorability meter spikes. Yet the fleeting hope of salvation trembles against the looming dread of death-marked destiny threatening to consume her. The twin dukes recover, eyes blazing, while the crown prince's dagger hovers inches from Penelope's throat, leaving the outcome of the deadly standoff hanging on a razor-thin thread of uncertainty.
That impact was felt through the screen. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari for more.
Penelope darts through the banquet hall, clutching the silver key as the two feuding Eckhart brothers glare, swords drawn. The crown prince's crimson eyes flare, daring her to step closer, while the flamboyant magician chants, his wand sparking with love. A loyal slave knight lunges, shielding her from a lethal spell, and the favorability meter spikes, death edges nearer, but hope ignites. Penelope darts through the ballroom, the crown prince's icy smile narrowing as she steps onto the cursed dance floor. The twin brothers shove her, each claim to protect her a feigned brawl, while the flamboyant magician flicks sparks, his eyes begging for a touch. The loyal slave knight draws his blade, not to wound but to shield. Penelope darts through the marble hallway, her heart slamming as the crown prince's blade whistles inches from her cheek. The twin dukes lunge, each accusing her of betrayal, while the magician's grin widens, his spell crackling with dangerous affection. Ignoring the death-marked routes, she snatches the jeweled key, flings it to the loyal slave knight, and bursts toward the hidden portal. The answer is already too late.
Penelope darts down the marble corridor, hurling the enchanted rose-turned blade into the cursed crown prince's dagger while the twin dukes lunge, their swords sparking in a frantic, deadly ballet. She risks everything, burning the fragile trust of the twins and sealing her own fate as the amulet's cursed glow threatens to consume the love she clings to. The crown prince's eyes flare with murderous intent, the rose's magic flickers unstable, and the twins' weapons clash overhead, leaving Penelope teetering on the brink of a lethal, unseen betrayal. Understanding the world makes the fights hit harder. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Penelope darts through the palace corridors, the cursed crown prince's blade glinting inches from her throat. She snarls at the dueling brothers, daring them to clash while she slips a love letter into the magician's pocket, igniting his jealousy. The slave knight's steel shields her back, and the favorability meter spikes, each scandalous kiss buying another heartbeat in this death-ridden harem. Penelope darts between the dueling brothers, their swords clashing over a single rose while the crown prince's manic grin promises a swift end. The flamboyant magician flicks a spark toward her, yet his envy fuels the hidden favor meter.
Penelope's heart pounds as she spots the crown prince stepping onto the balcony, his silhouette framed by moonlight. She wants to confront him, to force a bargain, yet the crowd's roar drowns her voice, and a sudden gust threatens to knock her off balance. She lunges forward, grabbing the railing, and pulls herself up onto the stone ledge, eyes locked on his regal stare. The prince turns, a faint smile curling his lips, as if he expected her move. Their gazes lock, tension crackling like static. The kingdom holds its breath, waiting for the spark that could ignite war. He has no idea what's waiting.
Penelope snatches the magician's wand and blades clash as the crown prince storms the ballroom, the twin dukes shouting for her allegiance, while the throne's vacant seat looms ominously behind them. She feels her heart shatter, torn between a desperate bargain with the prince and the burning hope that the wand might finally free her from the cursed tea party's haunting rumor. Risking betrayal and loss of everything she fights to protect, a hidden assassin's gunshot erupts, sending an arrow of blood toward the throne's empty seat, leaving the crowd frozen and the fate of the kingdom hanging on a single, unresolved breath. The next arc is darker, faster, and hits harder. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and don't miss a second.
Penelope darts through the marble corridor, the crown prince's blade humming inches from her throat. The twin dukes shove her toward the jeweled altar, each accusation sparking a furious duel. A flamboyant magician conjures fireworks, his grin widening as her favorability spikes with every reckless kiss. The loyal slave knight leaps, shielding her from a lethal trap, while the ticking clock threatens another deadly ending.
Penelope darts through the moonlit garden, the crown prince's poisoned dagger glinting in her hand. The twin dukes roar, charging over shattered statues, each strike sending sparks of spite into the night.
Penelope staggers, clutching the wounded heel of her boot, desperate to learn why the map never appears. She wants the hidden route that leads to safety, but the ancient stone seems to swallow any clue, and the echoing footsteps of the second prince grow louder. She scrambles to the altar, shouting that she must convey the Eckhart myself, hoping the old magic will respond. The altar trembles, a faint glow rising, yet the promised doorway stays sealed. Frustration spikes as she realizes the key lies beyond her reach, and the brothers' shadows loom ever closer.
Even if I die, I have to know. It's not there. It should appear now. Convey your Eckhart myself.
Penelope slams the cursed contract table, sparks exploding as the feuding Eckhart brothers clash swords over a single crimson rose while the crown prince lunges, his blade a murderous blur aiming for her heart. Penelope feels her pulse thunder, her hope teetering on the edge as she realizes the map she needs vanishes, and every betrayal tightens the rope of her survival. The cursed title blazes on the stone. Villains are destined to die, sealing a prophecy that threatens to consume her, while the crown prince's shadow looms, promising a deadly choice yet unseen.
You ask for the best, I deliver. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. The villain's heart shatters as the countdown flashes in his mind, each tick a reminder that death stalks him. Eckhart, the cold duke, demands the final report, his voice slicing through the empty hall. Penelope clutches the parchment, desperate to prove she isn't the doomed heroine everyone expects. The air tightens, the looming reset button glows faintly, promising a second chance that may never come. She forces the words out, her throat raw, hoping the Duke will spare her for now. The Duke's eyes narrow, his favorability meter ticking upward as she dares to defy fate. Convey your final works to the Eckhart yourself. And the timer ticks louder than ever.
Penelope darts through the palace corridors, her footsteps echoing like a frantic drum. She wants to outrun the crown prince, to hide before his blade finds her. The labyrinthine hallways and his relentless pursuit block any safe exit. Each turn seems to lead deeper into danger. She trips, curses, and stumbles over a fallen tapestry, forcing herself to the ground. The prince bursts through the doorway, eyes blazing, and lunges. Her scream cuts off as steel meets flesh. She collapses, blood spilling, her last thought a whispered apology to the empty throne. The duel seals her fate. What comes next changes everything.
I am sorry. Stagger, oh, excuse me. I must run away.
Penelope confronts the Duke, then dashes into the courtyard, only to find the reset pedestal empty, the void humming, as the crown prince lunges. She risks everything. Her hope of escaping the cursed game shatters. Her chance at a happy ending evaporates, leaving terror and desperation. The cursed mantra flickers, the void threatens to consume her, and the prince's blade glints, leaving her fate hanging on an unseen reset button that may never appear.
Unlocking the ultimate tier is just the beginning. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Penelope darts through the ballroom, her heart thudding as the twin dukes flare swords over a spilled wine glass. The crown prince's sneer turns lethal, but she flings a teasing grin, daring his curse. A silver-tipped spell erupts from the magician's wand, shielding her while the slave knight lunges, his blade singing. Each reckless kiss spikes their favor meters, inching her toward a single, survivable ending. Penelope slams the cursed contract, eyes blazing as Duke Eckhart's icy stare pierces her. The twin brothers lunge, fists clenched, each daring her to defy destiny while the crown prince's blade glints ominously. A flamboyant magician mutters a reckless charm, and the loyal slave knight steps forward, sword ready.
Penelope slams the cursed contract shut, sparks exploding as the twin dukes clash with the crown prince's poison-kissed blade, while the magician unleashes a volley of enchanted arrows that shatter the marble ceiling. She feels her heart hammering against her ribs, knowing a single misstep could seal her fate and strip her of the only chance to rewrite the destiny that binds her to death. The twin brothers stare, swords poised. The poisoned prince lunges, and the magician's spell flickers uncertainly, leaving Penelope teetering on a razor-thin line between salvation and annihilation.
The sheer power in this chapter is unbelievable.
Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Penelope darts through the marble hallway, a silver dagger glinting in her hand as the Duke's two hot-headed sons lunge, their swords clashing like thunder. The Crown Prince's cursed smile widens, but the flamboyant magician flares a violet spell, forcing the brothers to back off. Behind them, the loyal slave knight draws his shield, eyes fierce, Penelope's only chance to rewrite a doomed ending. Penelope darts through the palace corridor, clutching a blood-smeared letter as the youngest brother lunges, blade flashing. The Crown Prince's manic laughter echoes behind her, his poisoned kiss waiting in the next chamber. Penelope darts through the marble hallway as the two feuding Eckhart brothers slam doors behind her, their swords clashing like thunder. The Crown Prince smirks, his poisoned kiss waiting at the next balcony, while the flamboyant magician flicks a glittering spell that only draws blood. A loyal slave knight blocks her path, but each reckless kiss and daring quip spikes the brothers' favor meters, pushing her ever closer to a true ending, or a fatal reset. The answer is already too late.
Penelope darts through the ballroom, hurling a jeweled goblet into the Crown Prince's chest as his blade arcs toward her, while the feuding Eckhart brothers crash together, swords sparking in a chaotic melee. She stakes her life on a reckless strike, gaining a fleeting chance to shatter the prince's murderous scheme, but flirting with death as blood drips, forcing the Magi's dark bargain to teeter on collapse. The Crown Prince claws upward, bloodied yet alive. The Eckhart brothers stare menacingly, and the Magi's eyes glow ominously, leaving Penelope's fate hanging between a blade's edge and a shattered alliance. The next arc is darker, faster, and hits harder. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and don't miss a second. The Crown Prince slashes a noble's throat, the blade humming like a grim promise. Blood splatters across marble, sealing a cursed pact that could drown the Eckhart line. Penelope watches, heart pounding, knowing any misstep now drags her deeper into death's script. She forces herself to speak, demanding the truth behind the slaughter. The palace walls echo with the prince's cruel grin, his eyes hungry for chaos. Penelope's mind races. Survival means bargaining with a monster, but every word could be her undoing. She steadies her voice, ready to trade secrets for a sliver of safety.
I called you to hear exactly what happened at the royal palace.
Penelope hurries back, clutching the jeweler's contract, her heart thudding like war drums. She whispers the festival's date to an eager attendant, hoping the celebration will by her allies. The courtyard buzzes with rumors of the Crown Prince and Marquis Winter arriving at the palace, a sight that could shift loyalties instantly. Penelope eyes the approaching riders, calculating how their presence could tip the balance in her favor. She decides to meet them with a smile, ready to trade favors for protection. The price: she must now juggle two powerful men whose ambitions clash.
I'll return quickly, promise.
The arrival of the prince and Marquis tightens the noose.
Penelope forces the trembling servant to reveal the hidden ledger, while the queen's steward whispers a warning about a silenced heir, igniting a deadly power play at the banquet. Penelope feels her heart pound like war drums, knowing she risks everything, her fragile alliances and any chance of redemption, if the ledger falls into the wrong hands. The hidden ledger trembles in her grasp as the five brothers eye her, and the whispered promise of a silenced heir looms, threatening to rewrite her fate.
Sometimes you have to become a monster to kill one. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Penelope darts through the sprawling Duke's manor, heart pounding as the two feuding brothers block every hallway with sharp words and sharper swords. The flamboyant Crown Prince smirks, his poisoned roses wilting in her grip, while the enigmatic magician whispers spells that glitter like fireflies. A loyal slave knight shields her from a sudden trap, and each reckless kiss fuels the hidden favor meters, inching her toward a single, life-saving ending. Penelope darts between the two feuding brothers, their swords clashing like thunder, while the Crown Prince's manic grin widens with each near-fatal slip. A silver-crowned magician materializes, eyes blazing, and the loyal slave knight lunges to shield her.
A shadow steps out of the darkness, a masked figure demanding to know why Penelope prowls the tunnels. She wants a safe exit, but the figure's cold stare promises punishment for any meddling. She steadies her voice, claiming she seeks only the festival's rare flower for the Duke's daughter. The figure narrows his eyes, then gestures toward a hidden stair leading deeper underground. She descends, the stone walls closing in, feeling the weight of unseen eyes. The stair drops her into a cavern where a whispered chant hints at an ancient ritual, perhaps a way to reset her fate. Yet the deeper she goes, the louder the echo of her own footsteps, reminding her that each step could be her last. But the real problem is already in motion. Penelope darts into the abandoned drill hall, only for a cloaked, masked figure to emerge from the darkness, demanding the reason for her secret tunnel intrusion as the air crackles with imminent danger. She feels the affection meter hovering at a desperate 10%, meaning she loses any hope of winning the Crown Prince's favor, while the looming threat threatens to shatter her fragile chance at freedom. The masked stranger lowers his blade, revealing only a glint of familiar sigil, leaving Penelope, and us, wondering whether the hidden Duke or a far darker player pulls the strings behind the game.
We're building the ultimate Manhwa guild right here. Hit subscribe on Manwa with Hari and join the ranks.
Penelope's heart pounds as the two hot-headed Eckhart brothers hurl accusations over a spilled wine, while the Crown Prince smirks, brandishing a poisoned rose. A flamboyant magician swoops in, his eyes alight with affection, and the stoic slave knight steps forward, armor clanking. Each flirtatious jab spikes her favorability meter, and every reckless kiss edges her closer to a death-cursed ending. Penelope darts through the palace courtyard, the Crown Prince's blades flashing as he lunges, while the feuding Eckhart twins shove each other aside, shouting over her frantic laughter. A flamboyant magician hurls a love spell, binding her heart to chaos, and the stoic slave knight draws his sword, his loyalty blazing brighter with every reckless kiss she steals. Penelope slams the cursed Crown Prince's dagger aside, sparks flying as the magician's enchanted blade shatters against her. The twin brothers lunge, fists clenched, but she twists their grip, forcing a reluctant truce. With the loyal slave knight shielding her, she snatches the hidden key, her only chance to rewrite the deadly ending before the next death spell detonates.
Penelope darts through the marble hallway, the Crown Prince's blade humming inches from her throat. She snaps a flirtatious grin at Junhee, the older brother, then spins, letting his jealous stare melt into a heated kiss that fuels their favor meter. The younger sibling lunges, but she sidesteps, whispering a promise of safety that only a slave knight can keep, each daring move buying her another chance at a true ending. Penelope darts through the marble hallway, snatching the jeweled dagger from the Crown Prince's grip as chandeliers explode around her, while the flamboyant magician's spell crackles and his grin widens. She risks everything, trading her chance at freedom for a desperate gamble that could seal the cursed diary's power or shatter her fragile alliance with Junhee, leaving her heart pounding with betrayal and hope. The twin dukes close in, the cursed blade hums menacingly at her throat, and the mysterious Empress watches from the shadows, promising a perilous showdown that could decide the kingdom's fate. Stat maxing is an art form. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari to watch the numbers go up.